spending more than $40 billion on this railway through the Himalayas. Once complete, it will connect Chengdu, a major city in southwestern China, to Lhasa, the capital of the Tibet Autonomous Region, lowering the travel time from 34 hours to 13 hours.
Yawn.
This is just one part of a massive
China builds another train. Yawn. We get it.
construction spree along China's roughly 2,000-mile land border with India. Both countries have disputed the exact border for decades, but the dynamic has shifted drastically over the last several years, as China has invested in extensive roads, heliports and airports, and it's building or expanding hundreds of border villages. China has generally argued the build-up is focused on economic development, but the potential military applications of this infrastructure has some Indian officials concerned, and experts say China's extreme efforts to dominate the region are creating an increasingly flammable situation between two major world powers.
Interesting.
The Chinese military's Western Theater Command is massive, about 2.6 million square miles, more than 80% of the area of the contiguous.
Have they considered building a wall? Maybe a great one. Historically, I think that's been rather successful. I don't know if that could...
United States. Much of this region has long been remote, inaccessible, and poor.
This is very punishing terrain we're talking about.
Since the 90s, China has built thousands of miles of roads through Tibet, especially in recent years. Many of these go parallel to or extremely close to the border, which has made these areas much more accessible. Because many of these roads could also be used for military purposes, what experts call dual use.
This land looks very cheap. Do you guys think we should all just move to southern China / northern India and we could get a fucking commune going? Looks like just rocks. Yeah, but we'd probably get subsidies from the Chinese government to build out there, as long as we put up Chinese flags.
Also controversial. In 2020, for instance, India's construction of a road near the border was cited as a contributing factor to a deadly clash between Chinese and Indian troops in Ladakh. India has continued building some roads by the border, including some impressive projects, like a tunnel across the Sila Pass, and a more than 1,000-mile Arunachal frontier highway is currently in progress.
Jesus.
But India's border roads are more limited overall, and most of its projects are smaller. In addition to roads, China has also invested heavily in trains along the corridor.
The primary purpose of these high-speed railway lines is connectivity. But the fact of the matter is, once you have a high-speed rail, it takes only an order to make sure that instead of tourists, you have soldiers being transported on those railway lines.
Yeah,
and that's where the challenge comes.
The concern is that this infrastructure network could enable a small dispute in a remote territory to quickly spiral into a large conflict.
China's ability to mobilize its forces on the Indian border has changed dramatically over time. In the late 90s, early 2000s, people were talking about a month that Chinese forces would need to mobilize and then actually go for war with India. Now we hear about a time period of 5 to 7 days.
In 2006, China completed the first major train line in Tibet, the Qinghai-Tibet Railroad. The government spent more than $4 billion to connect the western Chinese city.
Do you ever get major FOMO from this? What, from the conflict or from the trains? Hopefully you're saying the trains. Hopefully you're not getting FOMO because we don't have a giant border dispute with India. We have enough conflict of our own, all right? I don't think America is getting FOMO.
Of Xining to Lhasa. Now it's working on something even more ambitious, the Sichuan-Tibet Railway, which would speed up the journey through the Himalayas, directly connecting the headquarters of the PLA's Western Theater Command to the capital of the Tibet Autonomous Region. For China,
I wish Mexico was a rising superpower that we had extreme tension with. Sag. God, if only, dude. If only. I mean, that would actually be cool. What if that's what gets us trains throughout the Southwest? What if we had a border dispute with Mexico, so we built trains all throughout the Southwest so that we could mobilize troops to the front, dude? That'd be awesome.
China, this is important to make Tibet more accessible. For India, though, it means easier Chinese access to the disputed border. India has plans to increase trains on its side of the
Sick
border,
bridge.
but its overall system is much more
Sick
limited.
As far as the
bridge.
railway lines are concerned, Indian infrastructure is non-existent.
Another area of Indian concern is China's increasing air power along the corridor.
India has a much larger numerical air force advantage against China. Firstly, it has a lot more air bases,
that.
and they are also located a lot closer to the front line than the Chinese ones are. But another element of this is that China has the most missile-centric concept of warfare anywhere in the world.
China is estimated to have more than 600 nuclear warheads, many of which could reach India. India is estimated to have only 118 nuclear warheads.
This scene is in every video about war, nuclear war. And it's like, who fucking cares? Only 118? Only a billion people dead? Who cares? What? Oh, I have 150, but you only have 90. It's fucking ridiculous. This is enough nuclear warheads to end life on Earth. The way people talk about nuclear war is so funny. It's like, this could be 5 and 5, and it would be enough to, like, nothing should happen.
While both countries have sophisticated aircraft in their arsenal, this is another area where China has made significant strides.
It is
Me hugging my single warhead. It's okay, buddy. It's okay, champ. Fucking stupid comment.
It's an interesting time to actually look at air power and the air picture along China-India border, particularly given India-Pakistan conflict, in which the Pakistan side used China-manufactured aircraft in actual combat. It's definitely quite a sobering moment, I think, for the Indian military.
Another significant part of China's border development effort has been moving citizens closer to the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh.
If China moves all its cities right to the border, if you try to nuke them, you'll pretty much be nuking yourself. That's nine-head play. If they move, everybody in China stands right on the border. It's like nearly impossible to nuke.
It claims this is actually part of its own territory. Between 2018 and 2023, China's registered population in border areas increased by 10.5%, according to government work reports.
Dude, that's what Canada should do. Wait. If you're Canada and you don't have nuclear weapons, right? So you can't fight a nuclear war with the United States if Trump's being crazy. So what do? All you have to do is build a giant fan like right here and right here and right here, and it aims south. So if there's any nukes in Canada, the radioactive fallout is just blowing straight down to America. The wind already does that. The wind needs a little bit of help of its own, okay? Sometimes you can't rely on nature to do the thing. Trump gets lucky, dude. I wouldn't put it past Trump to nuke fucking Toronto and then a gigantic gust of wind, a generational gust of wind blows north for a generation. And he, and he just tweeting, yeah, plan the whole thing. Okay? He gets lucky. You want the fan. You're going to want the fan. Toronto would have housing prices. Toronto could get nuked and housing prices would go up. I promise you that. A nuclear weapon could hit Toronto and the fucking studio apartment there they'd double the rent. Scarcer supply, yeah.
India has started a similar initiative, what it's calling the Vibrant Villages program, but it's not as advanced. Some China watchers worry border villages could be used by China as military staging posts in a potential conflict. Or at the very least, they're a way for China to strengthen its claim to the land where they sit.
To some degree, the Chinese government's calculation is really about creating political bargaining chips and facts on the ground, potentially for political negotiations.
China uses so-called active defense on many of its borders. And it's also known for pressing neighbours into difficult positions by using what experts refer to as salami slicing tactics.
We talked about this.
Where it gets away with major power grabs by cutting them into many incremental moves that are too small to meet much resistance. While China and India have made some steps recently to improve their relationship over the border, experts say the situation remains tense. For instance, China recently issued new Chinese names for dozens of places in the Indian-controlled territory of Arunachal Pradesh, which it also claims.
As of today, the relationship is really at an inflection point because both countries really need...
I think it's so funny. I don't fully understand it. We talked about this yesterday, but I don't fully understand the motivation behind a lot of these leaders for territorial gains like this, because the value of the land is so low. I'm not saying, you know, you should give up territory, but if you took the effort to agree on a line on a border and stick to it, the resulting trade boost from better, less tensions with your neighbor is going to be worth so much more than a few meters of ground. It's maybe it's a reputation, maybe it's an internal polling thing and you seem stronger to your people, but it feels so foolish because, you know, China and India having no tensions at all would be infinitely stronger for both of them. They would both be in a better spot. So how much is the land worth? How much is a few extra meters of land worth? It's not a few meters, it's hundreds of kilometers. Yeah, but I just mean relatively. Like, China's massive. They have enough land for their people. This extra land is being forcibly filled. But the population isn't even growing in China. It's shrinking. It's not. Now, again, as I've always said, if there's like really valuable resources in that land, then I get it. I always get it. I understand. If there's like some rare earth mineral or there's something, then I get the dispute. But just for land's sake, it just feels needlessly antagonistic when you could win more the other way.
Each other, and India has the capacity to absorb a lot of China's overcapacity in many ways. And India obviously is in need of China's investment. But that all being said, what they're doing is essentially building up infrastructure, dual-use facilities, and trying to better position themselves, or in the event of a conflict. Despite both sides may not want wars, but miscalculation and misperceptions may eventually be a big problem.